Everyone looks at this painting, and they see a man screaming in agony. But what if I told you that the figure is not screaming at all? Look closer at the face, and you will realize the truth is far more terrifying. For over a century, the world has misread the most iconic expression of anguish in art history. The bridge stands firm and rigid, but the sky behind it is melting like wax. This is not just a sunset reflecting over the Oslo fjord. It is a psychological scar burned into the canvas. You think you know Edvard Munch, but you have been looking at a mirror of your own fear instead of his. The scream does not come from the figure, but from the landscape itself. That is what the critics refuse to acknowledge. There is a hidden rhythm in the brushstrokes that mimics a sound wave trapped in time, a frequency of madness. As we peel back the layers of this oil and tempera nightmare, we will find that the bridge is a cage, and the water is an abyss waiting to swallow the soul. Prepare yourself, because once you see what lies beneath the orange clouds, you will never look at this bridge the same way again. Now observe the two figures walking in the background. They are perfectly calm, standing as solid pillars of indifference, while the world around them dissolves into chaos. Munch painted them as shadows of reality, ignoring the cosmic horror unfolding right next to them. This contrast is the second layer of the mystery. Why does the environment react to the man while the other two remain unaffected? It is because the scream is not an external event, it is an internal collapse. Look at the bridge floor. It is a brutal, linear perspective that leads the eye toward an inevitable void. This is not a path of travel, it is a vector of despair. The lines of the bridge do not align with the laws of physics, they are angled to trap you inside the painting. Every stroke is a deliberate act of emotional violence. You are not an observer of this scene. You are a participant in a mental breakdown. The colors are not representing light. They are representing the vibration of a nervous system on the brink. Look at the water beneath the bridge. It is dark and viscous, like oil. It represents the collective subconscious, where all our hidden anxieties sink and never return. We are approaching the core of the enigma, and what we find next will shatter your perception of artistic intent. Finally, we arrive at the third and darkest layer of the enigma. Look at the sky one more time. Historians claimed it was a volcanic sunset from Krakatoa, but that is just a distraction from the real truth. The sky is a physical representation of an auditory hallucination. Munch himself wrote in his diary that he felt a great infinite scream passing through nature. He was not describing a sight, he was painting a sound. The reason the figure covers his ears is because the scream is not coming from his mouth, but from the very atmosphere pressing against his brain. It is an overwhelming frequency that only he can hear. This is the master stroke of the painting. The bridge is the only straight structure because it represents the logic of the waking world, while everything else is the chaotic turbulence of the human mind. When you realize that the world is screaming at you, rather than the man screaming at the world, the entire meaning flips. You have been trapped in this painting for years, and only now do you hear the echo. Now, turn away from the screen and tell me if the world feels a little bit louder than it did before. The gallery is closing, but the scream will stay with you forever.